when is the right time to expand and to move into a larger clinic space? Now, this is a question that we get all the time, and I'm going to be diving right into it today with a slightly different angle than you may think and looking at the shift model. Now, before I get into that, please like and subscribe this video. It really helps the YouTube algorithm and it helps us to reach more people and to have a greater impact. And also, please today enjoy the cinematic lighting, considering my light just over here has failed to turn on. I have to replace that one. So without further ado, let's jump into it. When is the right time to be looking at expanding your clinic? Now, let's divide these into different categories here, because one of these categories, it's not really going to be affected by the shift model. And let's say you're a physiotherapy business or you work in rehab, you're an EP, osteo, chiro, whatever it may be, and you want to expand and have a large gym space and you need more room, and it's not something that simply improving the efficiency of your clinic rooms is going to achieve. That is not going to be affected here, and you're going to have to look at that through a different lens. But what we're looking at today is the other side of this. It's when a business owner, a clinic owner, maybe like yourself, is looking at it and going, all right, when should I grow my clinic, move into a bigger space, take over the building next door, whatever it may be, so that I have more clinic rooms so I can utilize more time and I can see and help more people with my team. That's the one we're looking at here today. So what that looks like for a lot of people is they look at it and they go, all right, well, I currently have these rooms used most of the time. And in order to take that next step forwards, I need a bigger clinic space. Now, considerations here, moving into a larger clinic space, it's going to cost more. You typically can be paying per square meter. And so if you double the size of your clinic, you double your rent. If you were paying $100,000 before, $2,000 a week roughly, you're now paying $4,000 a week. Now that can be a really good investment. There's nothing that says that isn't, but it is an expense that increases. And every expense that increases does make it a realistic impact on our bottom line. But we have to make sure that if we're going to do that, we're doing it for the right reasons. Now, also, fit out costs. It's unlikely that you're going to move into the perfect building where it's all fitted out beautifully for you. It's much more likely that you're going to move into somewhere where it's a bit of a shell and you've got to build it all. Now, I've been involved with a lot of clinic owners over the past 12, 18 months who have done fit outs or who've had quotes for different fit outs. And in Australia right now, the cost of building is ridiculous. And sometimes I think builders just look at, oh, I don't really want to do this one. So they throw out some wild numbers. And we actually do have one of our CM coaches, his name is Marcio, who has a business that actually does this, and they're bloody fantastic. So have a chat to him, little cheeky plug there. But I've seen fit outs for 500, 450, 500 square meter clinics that are kind of shell at the moment, not including the air conditioning and plant, around $600,000 to $700,000. Now I've seen them be sort of as low as $400,000 to $500,000, but we're not talking small amounts of money here. These are very significant investments. Now, granted, you may take that over, call it a 5-year business loan, call that another $2,000 per week. You're now looking at a $4,000 per week increase in your baseline in order to be able to make this a null equation, to not be changing your financial position. And you might say, all right, well, it's $100 per appointment at my clinic. So that's an extra 40 appointments per week we need. But we also have to look at it as a gross margin. So let's say you pay about 40% of your the cost of an appointment to therapists. So what we need to do is say that that's 60%, so there's going to be another 40% on top of it. You're probably looking around another 50 to 60, probably just over 60 appointments. Quick math, you can double check this one later, but another 60 to 65 appointments per week in order to not change your current financial position. That is no small task, whether that's hiring another 2 people or whether that's increasing the utilization of the people that you currently have working at your clinic. It's a lot of work and a lot of new people to be serving. Now, if we look at the flip side to this, the shift model. Now, this is something that I learned from a guy called Ryan McAfee. He's an exercise physiologist in Newcastle. Bloody awesome guy. fantastic clinic owner. And what he implemented at his clinic, I love. It is the shift model. And so what they do, or what Ryan was looking at doing, was he was looking at moving into a bigger clinic so that he could help more people, he could have more people coming through each week. But then he also looked at, well, what if we didn't do that? Because there was a lot of risk involved in doing that, a lot of risk, a lot of effort. He had a young family, and he was sort of wondering, well, do I really want to jump in and take this risk and put in all this time and effort when I have a young family? So what he decided to do was to look at, well, what if we had a better utilization for the room? Now, he looked at the utilization for the room, and it was maybe 60%, 50, 60% utilized. And he thought, well, what if we had a shift from, call it 7 in the morning till 1 p.m., and then from 1 p.m. till 7 p.m. Now, also keep in mind with your reward from 6 p.m. till 7 p.m., people may be on a slightly increased rate that may be counted as overtime, depending on which award you're on and the better off overall test. That's a conversation to have with your HR team. But by doing that and by implementing that, what Ryan's been able to do is to massively decrease the risk, because it was all there, it was all built prior. So he's able to massively increase the utilization within his clinic without taking on any extra risk. And so for each extra client that's coming in, there's no extra risk. It's increasing the profitability of the clinic. And by increasing the profitability of the clinic without having that risk and without having that extra effort, you can now reinvest more into the team, into the clinic itself, into getting better results with clients. Really, anything that he wants to do there, he has more opportunity to do it. And at the same time, he has more time to spend with his young family. So I would get you to have a look at your clinic. If you're thinking about, do I need to be moving soon? Do I need to be expanding soon? And actually look and go, could I implement a shift model? And would my team love it? Because one of the things that I hear a lot in physiotherapy, especially, but in healthcare, is that it is either very 9 to 5 or very evening sort of work. But what if you could have someone who loves working in the morning? Like me, I love working in the morning. After 5 p.m., I'm a potato. I'm a bit useless. I go to bed at 8 p.m. If I'm seeing clients until 7 p.m., that's a genuine struggle. And for some people, my business partner, Andrew, he's a night owl. And so if he's up really early seeing clients, that's going to be a challenge, right? And so I would love to do a 7 a.m. to a 1 p.m. shift. That'd be perfect for me. I'd get better results with my clients. I'd be more energized. I'd love it. And for Andrew, he'd definitely prefer that 1 p.m. to the 7 p.m. It also opens up the day. I personally feel like, and more people I talk to, is that either working early or working later tends to make the day feel like it's more productive, rather than having a little bit of time before work and a little bit of time after work. And so when we're looking at from employee engagement and how they actually enjoy this, we actually see the employees putting their hand up and saying, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. And that's a key thing, because all of us right now, we're looking at employee retention, at our team member retention, right? Because hiring is challenging. And one of the ways to reduce how often we need to hire is to keep our team longer. And from an overall macro perspective as well, if all of your team members have been working with you for at least, call it 3 years, they're amazing. You've mentored them, they've grown, they're delivering amazing client outcomes. The reputation of your clinic is just going up and up because they're fantastic at what they do, compared to having a bit of a revolving door where every couple of years, that person leaves and we start again with a new grad. And there's nothing wrong with new grads. But I remember when I was a new grad, and it's a big learning curve. It's a very big learning curve. When I was in my 3rd year, I remember looking back at my first ever client notes and going, I'm so sorry for those people that saw me in that first 3 months. And I thought I knew everything then, and I definitely didn't. And even at that stage, it was just a real eye-opening moment. So this could be one of those keys to helping your team to feel more fulfilled. And also for your clients. You may have clients that it's more convenient to have more before work times and more after work times. So look at how this could work within your own business. Because I remember, and I'll put my hand up, when I first heard about this, I was like, oh, That's really nice for you, Ryan, but that wouldn't work for us. That wouldn't work in our clinic. But the thing is, it could. And rather than saying it can't work, ask yourself, how could it work? And thinking back to those mental constraints, if you put those mental constraints on and someone said you had to have this shift model, how would you make it work? How would you make it work within your clinic? Because then when you look at your clinic overall, you are actually de-risking. You're taking risk away rather than the knee-jerk reaction to move into that huge clinic with that big fit out fee and the increased rent. You're doing more with less. And when you do more with less, you typically have less risk associated with it. So my question for you today, and something to ponder, is could a shift model be implemented in your business? And if so, how could you implement that shift model successfully? And what would the numbers look like in your clinic from an overall revenue perspective, from a profitability perspective? What would the increased profitability look like if you could actually have that shift model? And how would you reinvest some of that money into improving your team experience, to improve your team retention, to improving your client experience, and improving your financial war chest? And after COVID, we all know that we need to make sure that we bolster that to give us financial security as a business owner so that we can make better decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. I hope you got something out of this video, my friends. If you've got any questions, if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. I reply to every single comment myself. If you do want any more information on this, we would love to have a chat. Feel free to email me at peter@clinicmastery.com, and we will see you in the next video, my friends.